You've had a little time to reflect on the fight now. I guess how are you feeling physically, first of all? See the bandage on your nose.
Yeah, I feel fine. Just a little superficial scratch, but yeah, I feel great otherwise, man. You're not going to get out of there after 15 minutes without being a little banged up, but I'm pretty damn pale, so this is more just like, I'm like a sheet of paper, man. You hit me with something, it's like red marker on there, so I don't wear damage the best, but no, I'm fine.
Bit of a weird fight, obviously, especially with the first round. I mean, we know what Kevin was going through, the cameras on him the whole time, seeing if he's recovering. What's going through your mind as like all this plays out and the 5 minutes get close, they're talking to him and you're like, there's not full clarity on whether the fight's going to continue or not.
I mean, honestly, I was just focused on the fight. I'm like, okay, keep moving around a little bit. Don't get too cold. Don't get too hyped and like frustrated at stuff that you can't control. I know. I think we both threw kicks at the same time, and one of mine went low first, and then that second one, like my knee hit him in the hip. My shin, I think, brushed his cup, but like I gotta watch it back. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm like, dude, I swear my knee hit him in the hip, like right above the belt line there. But he's just so tall, man. It's hard to like, his dude's like all limbs, right? It's like his hips are so high, it's hard to get that knee up. So, I'm sure my shin did hit him in the groin, and I bet it hurt. I don't think he was being dramatic or anything. I'm sure it was bugging him. But yeah, a bit of an odd one, but all right, that happened. You can't control it. There's 10 straight minutes. Let's just get back to it and reset it and refocus. And my coaches did a good job of just being like, look, don't worry about that. You're probably down one. Let's adjust. Let's, do this. Get out there and go win this fight. You got 10 minutes to do it. And, yeah, felt good with it.
Yeah, what about, like, in the moments after that where he's, like, wincing and stuff still and turning his back to you and, like, kind of all those moments? Is it tough to figure out how to navigate what you're going to do?
Yeah, like, again, he's, like, a chaotic guy. Is he doing that because he wants me to, like, rush in and do something stupid and he's going to rip a right hand or something like that and try and knock me out? Like, is he playing possum? Can he just not continue? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have just gotten on him a little bit more. But whatever, man. Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, and you should have that 15 next to your name on next week's rankings. I guess how good does that feel for yourself? I think you might be the first Canadian welterweight who's ranked since Rory McDonald.
Yeah, that's sick, man. That's awesome, dude. This has been a dream of mine for a long time, and it's the first step, man. Literally at the bottom of the ladder now, but that's how you start the climb. You got to get on it first.
Yeah. Who do you have your eyes on in those rankings?
I have my eyes on all these guys, man. Obviously, this fight I'm like really focused on Kevin Holland. This is not a guy you should look past. Like, he's got some losses in the UFC, but he's also beaten some of the best guys, both at middleweight and at welterweight. Fought in main events. Fought like a who's list of just the best guys out there, and he's dangerous. So I'm like, dude, I'm not focused on what's happening after this fight. I'm focused on tonight, and I feel like I earned the right to just be like, all right, nice. I'm going to take just the rest of the night and be happy with the win rather than focused on what I'm going to do next.
Yeah, and you mentioned, he's only lost to very good guys in the UFC, but he said you were 2 steps behind all the guys he usually loses to. So I guess that shows you're on a pretty high level now, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine he probably feels differently now, right? Like, maybe he's not seeing where my skill level is, but after 15 minutes in there, like I felt like I was the better of the two of us, and it wasn't a perfect fight, but I was happy with the performance overall, and yeah, man, definitely went out there and proved I'm one of the best guys in the world.
Mike, when you're waiting for Kevin to kind of make up his mind in terms of, the doctors over there, the refs over there, they're asking him, are you going to continue? With some of the officiating earlier in the evening, was anything going through your head like, oh man, I hope nothing wonky comes through in this one?
Not like with anything that happened earlier in the night, even though, it was kind of an unusual night as far as like some calls and stuff. The only thing that had me concerned was when they brought the doctor in, and the doctor turned to the ref, and the doctor's like, he's not giving me a definitive answer. I was like, no, come on. Like, don't. Because of that, like, no way, man. That wasn't I didn't think that was a bad shot. Like, okay, brush the cup, but like, I'm sure it hurt. It doesn't feel great, but like, come on, man, no way. I was, like, please don't let this be the reason this ends. Like, we're going to have to run this back because of a groin shot and, get out of here. But, luckily he was like, all right, he's a gamer. He's tough. He's down to keep going. So good on him for continuing.
And then, had you seen the outcome of Jazz's fight before you went out?
Man, that one's a tough one. That's that's a good friend. That's someone who's in the room with me every day, and you see the work she puts in, and that's not like a reflection of where her skill is. I think that was a great matchup for her to really shine, and she looked so good this camp. I'm like, holy shit, dude. I don't want to be a 125-pound chick having to get in the cage against Jazz, man. She's so good. She works so hard. She's so dedicated. She's got such a great attitude every day. She just brightens the room with her work ethic, and is joking around, and we all have bad days in the practice room, but is never too down on herself, and she's a big inspiration. So my heart goes out to her. We've had that now where it's been the opposite outcome for both of us. UFC Toronto, I had a big letdown at the very end of the fight, and she had one of the most dominant fights statistically in UFC history. And then she had a really rough night tonight, and then I had a great night, and it's just, you feel so happy for yourself, but then one of your good friends and teammates has a really rough night. It's tough. Tons of respect for my wrestling coach Chris Prickett, who's engaged to Jazz. He's both of our wrestling coaches, and he got her into MMA, and you watch your fiance and get hurt like that, and all that work comes crashing down, and just it's so definitive and punctual it's so punctuated at the end where it's final, right? And he had to come backstage and just wipe the slate clean and be there for me, and I didn't feel anything negativity wise or loss of focus from Prickett. So man, I don't envy having to have his job tonight, but man, what a fucking beauty for being able to rally for me. So much appreciated. And then as soon as I got stitched up, he's like, all right, I gotta go be with Jazz. Yeah, of course, man. Tell her I love her, and I'm proud of her, and hope she's doing okay.
And then last one for me. Toronto's kind of been an every other year destination for the UFC, so you're hoping maybe to see that early in 2026. Do you have any idea on timeframes for when you want to get back?
Yes, that sounds great. If that's the game plan, is Toronto for earlier in the year, if that's what you're saying, then yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love that.
Thank you.
Mike over here. So, talking a bit about obviously Jasmine losing, and then also what happened with, like I said, the groin strike and everything. How challenging was this fight mentally, just from having to deal with both those kind of stressful situations? How were you able to kind of keep your focus and go out there and get the victory?
I mean, the most stressful part of it is you're fighting in a cage. Standing on the side is not the most stressful part of fighting someone in a cage.
Yeah.
But
well, just mean worrying that the fight might not continue, right? So
again, I'm just in my head still in the fight. I'm not real. There was part of me that's no way, come on. But I'm all right, they're gonna talk for a bit. Dan Mergliato's gonna say, come on, get back to it, and we'll continue. I was there's no way this fight's over from that groin shot. It didn't really feel like that was going to be the end of it. And maybe that's what it feels like when it doesn't work out. Had it been like that, but yeah, no, I felt good. I felt like I stayed composed. I felt like I stayed focused. You just focus on what's in front of you, man, and it's winning the fight.
Were you worried they were going to take a point away? Because that happened earlier, right, with the groin shot.
Yeah, that I was a little more worried about, because that would have put me in a real different spot where probably would have had to get the finish. And fuck, I almost did get the finish at the end of the third, dude. That arm triangle, I just I should have cinched it just 5% deeper, because that was close, man. But he got a little bit too hungry for it. But he's a vet, man. That's a guy who finds ways to survive, and finds ways to win fights, and finds ways to make fights awkward and uncomfortable. He's a solid fighter. Tons of respect to him.
I was cage side. It didn't look like Holland was talking any trash during the fight, was he? Or was there any stuff he said that you remember?
he said two things. I think when we came out for the third, he walked out and he grabbed his groin. He's like, "Damn, you did a number on these today." And I was like, "I'm sorry." And then when I took him down at the end of the third, he goes, "Oh man, that was a real GSP move." I think those are the only two things he said in the octagon.
Obviously, one of the biggest wins of your career. You could argue maybe it was the biggest. But you kind of go back to that fight with Neil Magny where it didn't go your way. You had that veteran. You didn't pass the test. Now, tonight, you sort of do that. Similar opponent. Is there a sense of redemption a little bit getting this win, especially co-main event, a lot of eyeballs. You go through there and you get it done?
Yeah, no kidding. Especially if it had been that like last 20 seconds arm triangle or whatever, that I feel like would have totally vindicated that UFC Toronto outcome, right? But even just being willing to go for the choke at the end of the third and then just, continue to fight when it doesn't work out and win by decision. Like, look, man, yeah, I can go the distance, and I feel like each round kind of got better throughout the fight. So if anything, like I'm moving in the direction I want to be moving, where it's like, all right, man, like all my finishes are in the first half of the fight, but I'm not just an early round fighter. I'm a guy who can outclass you throughout a fight.
And I just got one more quick one because your friend Kyle Nelson fought earlier in the evening. A bit of a weird thing that happened after that first round. It looked like the fight was over, and then they continue. What did you make of that? Did you watch the fight on the monitor? Did you see what happened?
Yeah, it looked like it was over, right? There's still 3 seconds left, and the fight got stopped. So that was a weird one, Reffing's a thankless job, man. Those guys are in such tough positions. Like, I feel bad for them, but at the same time, like, if you hadn't stopped it in 3 seconds left, I thought Frivola was out, actually. Like, his arm was kind of like across his body. Frivola's a beast, and all the respect to him, but I thought he was out on that one. And, if there's 3 more seconds, Kyle was landing like 2 punches a second. You land 6 more unanswered shots. Like, no, we're not continuing. Like, that, I feel bad. That could have been a bonus for the guy. He's got kids. Like, he's been in this game for a long time. Kind of a guy that has been overlooked in a lot of ways, and he's a tough dude and a good humble guy and a good father, and yeah, man. So that's kind of tough. It didn't work out for him in that way, but glad he got the win and back on the win track and looking great at 55.
Hey, Mike, one from me. Just can you talk a little bit about what this is like in front of a Canadian crowd?
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's awesome, man. You get out there and just like stand in the tunnel waiting to walk out, and just all the fans are like, you gotta hear people walking. It's like, oh, there he is, right there, Mikey. Yeah, let's go. And I'm like, I want to engage in it because that's like just feels so nice. But I'm like, all right, man, I got a task at hand, man. I got one of the toughest guys in the world in front of me, toughest guy I've ever fought. I gotta be ready to turn this on. So staying dialed, staying focused, and walking out, taking my moments to like appreciate it. Walk into the cage and just hold my hands up and kind of look around like, all right, man, like we're fighting in front of 20,000 people. There's tons of fans in here. Like, Canadian fans are the best MMA fans out there, right? Like statistically, we're most fans per capita in the world. So yeah, it feels great getting to go out there in front of the Canadian fans, but looking forward to the next one.
And a pretty decent night for Canadian fighters tonight too. What do you think that says about the kind of quality of fighters that we have?
Yeah, I don't know how everything turned out. How did we do tonight?
It was 5 out of 7, I think, wins.
5 out of 7?
I think so.
Nice, right on. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that says great things about Canadian MMA, right? Like, sometimes you have great nights, sometimes you have tough nights, and the fans are kind of ruthless. After UFC Toronto, it's like, man, Canadian MMA sucks. But after Vancouver, it's like, man, Canadian MMA might be the next big thing. It's like you just have like one great night, a few good fights, and people are like, man, this might be the fight country of the world. And it's like, all right, well, just happy the Canadians did well. Team Canada, baby.
Thanks.
Mike, in the back here. How do you prepare to fight someone like Kevin Holland, who has such an orthodox striking style? I mean, tonight he wasn't really able to connect, and I think a lot of ways a lot of his shots came from various angles. How do you prepare mentally and physically for a striker like him?
I brought in a lot of long guys to work with, long kickboxers, long Thai boxers, long MMA fighters, guys that were quite a bit bigger than me, a lot of middleweights. So that helped a lot, just having that range. He felt long. I thought he'd feel longer, especially with how long his arms are. I thought he'd feel longer. Everybody feels different when you're in front of them than what you plan for, right? Like, I thought I'd have a little more success with the kicks, and I'd want to maybe avoid the boxing a little bit more, and it kind of was the opposite. And the more I boxed with them, the more success I had. Probably wasn't setting the kicks up the best. Lesson learned there. It's lesson Cruella and Helmagen's been trying to tell me for 20 years, but sometimes it takes a minute to learn those things. I just thought the one low kick that I think he caught and like straight righted me, I was fine. Like it didn't feel nice, but I wasn't like really hurt. I was on the bottom. Like, all right, just take your time here. You're gonna be fine. And swept him off that. But yeah, I thought he'd feel a little bit longer. The most frustrating part was like when he was throwing his like slap hook, he kept like raking my eyes. He like kept kind of not scratching my eyes, but he kept like raking my eyes with his left hook, and I was like, all right, that's annoying. But yeah, beyond that, he landed a couple nice jabs. But yeah, the hands weren't crazy threatening.
Yeah, I mean, I counted at least 4 or 5 times that he open-handed slapped you. Have you ever had that before, and what'd you think?
Well, it wasn't the slap. It was the fingers and the eyes that's frustrating, right? So, yeah, I mean, I felt like I stayed calm with it. Didn't hurt. Just was like, okay, I don't want to get one of these under the eyelid.
The left knee that connected and put him up against the cage in the third, how close do you think there was to being finished?
Dude, that guy's got a beard on him, man. I'm like, oh, I think I might be the first guy to knock him out. Like, landed a flush knee to the face, and he just ate it. He just rolls with shots really well. You know, I didn't want to get overzealous and sell out for something or leave myself open to get hurt. But, yeah, that one was close, and then the arm triangle was even closer.
One last one. Do you think Kevin could have a career in power slap after he's done?
I think if anybody could, yeah, probably him.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Good.
Congrats on the win.
Thanks, buddy.
I just have a couple questions. So obviously you've spent like a lot of your career fighting in Canada, and you were talking before about how much you appreciate it fighting here. For your next fight, would you like to stay in Canada or
Yes.
more Canada?
Yeah, dude. Would I rather be a co-main event in Canada or just a dude on like some American show? Yeah, I would way rather be a co-main in Canada. I come out and get, all the reception. The fans are all stoked. Like, I'm well aware that I don't hold the same like as far as like fan reception, it's gonna be completely different if I'm fighting in another country. I'd much rather fight in Canada. You only get so many of these in life, and each one of these feels like just such a big celebration for all the Canadian fighters, and like it's almost like being a kid and going back to camp and seeing the guys from last year, like, oh, Marc-Andre Barrios here, what's up, bro? Like Charles Jourdain, let's go, guys! Like we just get to go through this stuff together, and yeah, man, I love it. I'll fight where the UFC tells me to fight, but I would always prefer to fight in Canada.
So you'd rather have Saskatoon over the White House?
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's go, man.
And one more. I know you've already spoken about this already. I'm just gonna like slightly push a little bit. You said you didn't have any specific guys in mind at 170. Are there any like matchups that kind of make sense or intrigue you? Colby, Gilbert, like a couple of those names are in the 10-11 spot that could make sense from 15.
Sure. Yeah. Also, fucking missed opportunity, but it says Saskatoon or the White House, Little House on the Prairie over the White House. So how about that, man?
Oh, you got me. And yeah, just one more thing regarding like scraping the eyes with Kevin Holland. Do you think ref should be kind of like take some like little precautions to kind of like keep guys from doing that? It's not against the rules, but it's kind of like you're in that like almost like John Jones, like kind of like, borderline territory. Do you wish the ref maybe had done a little bit just to like ease it up a little bit and say be careful, or do you think it's fine how it is?
I mean, yeah, if you got to watch the hands in the face, right? Like you're scraping the face, you got to watch it. I mean, shit happens in fights, but it didn't affect my eyes at all, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, something like that happens. You got to be on it as a ref.
All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Awesome. Thanks, guys.